Coming up next on News Talk 1290 CJBK, The Big Show with John Biggs.
How you doing? I'm John Biggs. This is The Big Show. It is kind of unpleasant compared to yesterday with just some light rain showers, but the temperature is still 4. It was 12, however, when I was heading into work earlier today, so it has dropped considerably. The winds are shifting. You might remember a while back I had a conversation with Brendon Culliton. He's a Canadian documentary film director, graduated from Fanshawe, specializing in TV broadcasting, co-founder and producer with Joint Media Group of a film that we talked about at the time called If I Should Fall, a true story of the Afghan war experience. Well, we've got Brendon back on the show, but for really a completely different reason, although we will get to the film topic at some point. Brendon, welcome back to the program. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, John. Thanks for taking the time to do this. This is really important.
Well, my pleasure, and I think it's important to the City of London, only because I guess it's something that was it Joe Fontana's original idea
Well, Joe Fontana definitely supports this whole idea. It actually came out of my other youth who actually worked in cooperation with the city, in particular Matt Ross, and a few other people, and they've been doing a lot of it sort of came from the idea of youth, and then now it's actually moving forward with youth. So, but yeah, Joe Fontana's behind it, so it's pretty cool.
The London Youth Advisory Council, and
it is, yeah,
will be a youth advisory body making policy recommendations to City Council. I guess at this point we don't really know what kind of power, what kind of sway the Youth Advisory Council will have, but the fact that they exist is a step forward, right?
Yeah, this is really just progressive, in a lot of ways. It's funny because you actually said it, John. You said the winds are changing, and when I hear that, I think about what's actually happening here, and it's really just a more empowering youth stepping forward and willing to take control of the decision making that they want to see happen, not just on a micro scale but on a macro scale. And this is in reflection of a lot of stuff that's happening across the world right now.
And one of your issues, because I just watched your YouTube video, that you have a group of people together who want to sit on council, and that has to do with the fluoridation of the water.
That's one of the main things that we are focusing on. For me, the way I explain it, I just say that I want to encourage further conversation about fluoride, because the first step is about creating awareness. But evidently, yes, I personally would like to see it removed. But again, that's only one thing that we're focusing on. But it has been a topic that's been in the discussion of London for quite some time now through other groups. So like I said, we're just trying to help push it forward. And we actually are going around getting signatures for a petition that will eventually come into play in the future.
It certainly is a subject of some consternation. And it polarizes people for sure. It's one of those ideas. And one of the points that you do make is that there is evidence to support that it affects the pineal gland, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm curious, what's your understanding of the pineal gland?
Well, for whatever reason, the only thing I've seen of it is that it's your third eye, or affects your third eye.
That's Descartes was actually one of the first people to, I believe he was actually one who coined the term pineal gland, and one of the reasons for that is because it's actually, it is reminiscent of a pine cone, and that's for a lot of reasons in the sense of how reality unfolds, if you want to think about it that way. But yeah, essentially it does sit right in between the hemispheres of the brain, and by most mystic and even Eastern cultures, it is recognized as the third eye, the spiritual eye, the part of ourselves that connects us to more of this reality that's around us. We may not really be aware of all the time, but it's still there.
Now, like you said, the whole concept of this is very progressive on the City of London's behalf. And something more people should know about. Not a lot of people know about this website, LYAC.ca. This is where you go to vote for the members of this group, right?
Yeah, that's the main website. I would also just plug, you can go to paradigmshiftlondon.com, and just because that's the website that I designed, so I just designed it in the sense that you can see all the videos on one page. It's just kind of a different layout. But yes, you go to LYAC.ca to vote, and everyone can vote once, and all ages can vote. So another way to look at this is just the idea that this is encouraging voting for kids of a younger age. Even kids in high schools can get excited about this. So that's that's really interesting in itself.
Anybody can vote. Now, is there going to be, I'm assuming there's something in place that they would know from which computer the vote came and that there would only be one vote allowed from that computer? Is any of that in place, or do you have to register?
That is in place. Just through the software that they're using, that is one of the issues is that, you don't just go from computer to computer vote. Everyone only votes once, and if someone does do that, they'll be able to track it, so it's redundant anyways. But as far as I understand, it is only people with a London, Ontario address who are technically eligible to vote. So that's why we need people in London to become more aware of this, because right now, after just like a couple nights of voting now, like it's not a direct representation of the London decision. It's only been a few hundred, probably getting close to 1,000 now, but essentially the UWO election had over 10,000 votes, just to give you something in comparison, and that was within 2 days. So I'm putting the challenge out to London to take part in this, to go to the website, educate themselves about the candidates, and make a sound decision. But keep in mind that they're not just trying to choose one candidate. We're essentially trying to create a team here. So that's a really important part that I want to stress, is that this is a team. Like even the opening night that we had at the Wolf Performance Hall on Tuesday, all of us gave 2-minute talks. And even just through that night, we got to meet each other. We just got to meet each other in person for the first time. We're like, oh yeah, I liked your platform. I liked your idea. So even for those who don't get selected onto the 13, it's not like they're out of the loop, They're as much as involved as anyone else. And that equally goes to people who aren't on the council and still want to be involved in community decision making, because we'll have a method set up where you can, we'll talk to you, and then we'll bring your ideas into the city hall and actually help bring those to fruition. So
right, and I like a couple of the points that you make. I'm just going to read one of the phrases. Everybody who is in the running, by the way, if you go to citysymposium.com or just click on LYAC, and you'll get there from there. Everybody who is in the running have application videos that you can view, and also there's some words that you've written as well. One of my favorite phrases from what you've written there is, I want younger kids to put down their iPhones and pick up a paintbrush.
Thanks. Yeah, I was actually pretty proud of myself for that one too. But that just came from a real observation. I walked into my old high school, and that's kind of the common thing now. I didn't have iPhones when I was in high school, but now kids do. And coincidentally, a lot of them are pushing off a lot of the creative aspects of the learning, just through learning in general. There's a lot that you learn by creating art, and obviously, I'm a filmmaker. That's what I went to school for, and that's something that I want to encourage as well. So.
Right. It's one thing to enjoy someone else's art or someone else's creativity, and that's essentially what you're doing if you're just sitting there playing with your phone. But to develop your own, that takes, like you say, putting the phone down and coming up with something on your own.
Yeah, it's a real, you're actually creating something, and that's part of the idea that I actually just think is important about this entire election, is that it is very empowering. Oftentimes people will just sit back and choose to do nothing, but now there's something that they can do, and there's things that we are doing that we hope will inspire other people to, do their own things. We want people to aspire to inspire,
Absolutely.
In a collective sense. So, yeah.
Absolutely. You, by the way, I want to get back to talk a little bit about If I Should Fall, and congratulate you on the awards: Best Documentary at the Silver Wave Film Festival in Fredericton, Best Documentary Hamilton Film Festival, and Award of Excellence Documentary Competition at the Canadian International Film Festival. Those all 2011. And then this year, Best Documentary at the Amelia Island Film Festival in Amelia Island, Florida. So they continue to come in for this film. Are you surprised that you've had this kind of acclaim?
We're always very pleased, and it's always very exciting, because essentially when I made this film, I made something that I was confident about. I wouldn't have said it was done unless I was confident about it. So in a sense, I'm just glad that it's getting out there, but the exciting part is, where's it going to get to next? Where's it going to get to next? We're constantly hearing from new people who are finding out about it, and there is a lot of support about that. And with that in mind, I just want to take this time to mention, because this is very synchronistic as how I would explain it, rather than just coincidence. But today is actually the 3rd anniversary of Cooper Mark Diaz's death, March 8th, 2009. So.
Wow. One of the things you want to do if you get on the London Youth Advisory Council, is help create a London International Film Festival in 2013, a youth film festival, maybe even a youth film co-op.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really big idea, and that I have to give credit. That originally came from my father, Paul Culliton, because he's involved with If I Should Fall as well. He's the producer on it, and essentially he was the last one going to festivals. He was down in Amelia, and I mean, it must have been just the fresh air from the ocean, but that inspired him to say, like, hey, you know, like, why can't we do this in London? Like, there's no reason we can't when you think about it. London is like a kind of just a micro version of Toronto, and there's a lot that we have that we can offer as a film festival.
It's what I love about London is is because it is more of an isolated community. It's not like if you're in Hamilton, everything just kind of leads down the highway to Toronto, and you get a lot of, Toronto kind of runs that market. London stands on its own, and so the arts community stays here and grows here.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of the idea behind the film festival, is that essentially this is about creating a foundation for what could be very possibly a viable film industry here in London. And if that's the case, then I totally want to get like the Fanshawe College and the UWO involved and encourage students from those graduating classes to stay in London and continue to work in London. So.
Absolutely right. So let's get kids involved, particularly kids, but everybody, in the voting at LYAC.ca. So that everyone in London has a voice, a choice on London Youth Advisory Council. You can go to that website. You can read everybody's blurb that's on there. You can also watch their videos that are on there. And you said Paradigm Shift?
Yeah, ParadigmShiftLondon.com. So,
ParadigmShiftLondon.com as well.
Yeah.
All right, listen, thanks so much for this, Brendon. Good to talk to you again, and good luck with the LYAC.
Thanks a lot, John. And, from here, it's going to get really exciting with this election, so I encourage people to keep an eye on it. I'll have updates through ParadigmShiftLondon.com. But, let's make this viral, Like, that's what I say to everyone out there. So, let's do it together, team.
Absolutely. And make sure you get it done before the 13th, because I believe that's the last day of voting, right?
Yes, closes at 10 p.m. on the 13th.
Okay, 10 p.m. March 13th. That's why you have to be doing it now. LYAC.ca. Find out more. 22 minutes after 1 o'clock. Thanks, Brendon.
Thanks, Sean.
More Big Show coming up from News Talk 1290 CJBK.
Got the winter blahs? Why not use this time to be creative? Hi.